I would now like to speak more about the body itself. So I think we can perhaps speak a bit about this. This is a video I have been wanting to at least introduce in part for a long time, but have not been able to. But this is one of the most important videos which I'm going to make. And it is one of the most important series of videos which I'm going to make. It is something which is utterly neglected, to great detriment. It is something which the value hereof is not truly appreciated, especially within spirituality. Within the domain of the spiritual sciences, we have not really appreciated the body and the sciences of the body. There is merely one idea I would like to here introduce, which I think, having delivered, I can sat content, thinking myself to have spoken forth the kernel of this physiological philosophy. That is the idea, I think it is here, of the grammar of the body. And if nothing else, having introduced this idea, I will have sown the seed in your mind to contemplate this deeper. Even this phrase here requires deep, deep, deep contemplation. What do I mean by the grammar of the body? We have the grammar of a language, which should be studied. For example, one wants to study scripture, but one wants to study the Quran or the Bible. It begins with the fundamental science of philology. One must learn Arabic grammar, or Hebrew grammar, or Greek grammar. Grammar is not just syntax. By grammar, we mean the entire hierarchy and diagram of the linguistic sciences, including not just phonology, morphology, syntax, but also semantics, poetics, rhetoric, the philosophy of language, mathematical linguistics. To learn grammar is to utterly imbibe a language by its theoretical roots and foundations. To learn grammar is to build that theater which I spoke about in the last video, the theater of the theory. Grammar is theoretical. To go out and try to speak with other so-called native speakers, yes, there's benefit to that, but it is not sufficient. For example, with Arabic, you will never learn Arabic, classical Arabic that is, by speaking with other speakers of Arabic. You will never learn Arabic in a classroom. You will never learn Arabic trying to imbibe it naturally. You will only learn Arabic, true Arabic, by deeply studying, but not just studying, deeply experiencing the theoretical ground of Arabic. You need to have a spiritual experience where you become one with the grammar, where this theoretical grammar flows inside of your body, flows in your mind. It has become your mind. It has become like, I was going to say operating system, but even deeper. So it adds this low-level foundational structure of consciousness. You think in this language. That's something you have to do, no one else. You have to think in this language. If you want to learn Arabic, become an Arab. Become an Arab, Arabi. You want to learn Greek, become Greek. Become Hebrew. For these realities are available to all. The physical realities is insignificant. and not real, really, to begin with. And now, what I have spoken about learning the grammar of a language, I speak again about the grammar of the body. We must learn the grammar of the body. We must learn its fundamental parts, its fundamental postures. We must learn them so deeply that we are become these pure ecstasies of meanings. And we are become the very sig's of their synergies. We are become their eideatic structures. If the grammar of the body is a light, then we are become its niche. If it is a water, we are become its container. We inhabit the body even as we speak language. But we do not learn the body. In fact, we do not even learn language nowadays. These things which are most fundamental, which constitute the mindscape, constitute in great part what we call the self. Think of it this way. We only think in a language. That language was given to you. You imbibed it. You did not overwhelmingly choose it. You are limited by your language. Your thoughts are limited by your language which you speak. If you have a low language, you will have low thoughts. How can you have high, poetic, soaring, divine thoughts without a divine, lofty language in which to speak them? How can you think of grand, sublime beauty if you have not the language, if you have not the words thereof, if you have not conversed in that poetry, sung that inner music, heard the magnificent harmony and august composition which the language is capable of speaking? So also of the body, we have not learned the grammar of the body and the language of the body. We will not be able to move in the most noble forms, to act in the way which is most upright, to be sat with august presence, with nobility. We must learn this grammar of the body even as we learn the grammar of language. It is a theoretical learning which we must imbibe. We must practice this. This is why we so often speak of a practice. Learn it theoretically and also practice it. Now, what do I mean by the grammar of the body? Well, I think that if you have studied grammar, if you have studied an ancient and sacred language, you will be able to intuit this very quickly and very deeply. Grammar concerns the roots of things, going down to foundations, understanding that which is most fundamental, and systematically building it up. Grammar is like the roots of a tree, upon which it grows up strong and tall, from which it branches and flourishes in all its myriad forms. Grammar is a mathematics which has an indubitable basis of pure certainty, pure vision, and witnessing, upon which these high palaces and lofty towers are built up high. To learn the grammar of the body is to be acquainted with that which is most fundamental, most physical, the roots of the self. Those postures, those movements, which most perfectly mirror that which is divine, which most perfectly commune with the Most High, which most perfectly lead unto union with the sublime. And it is to learn the most musical compositions in such harmonious, delicate, and elegant fashions and forms. To learn the grammar of the body is to become an artist through every action which you do, even as you can become a poet by every word which you speak. This relates very deeply to my work on language, as I also teach many things linguistic on this channel. And I would commend all readers and listeners who have taken a vested interest in the study of language, especially to the end of studying that which is most sacred, to countenance the divine. Them I would commend to also take up the deep study and practice of the grammar of the body. And you may have realized that while I erstwhile have spoken, also I put up this diagram of the positions of the prayer. Perhaps all the while that may have inspired you to contemplate about these postures and forms, to try to make connections between worship and prayer, what you might call yoga, other calisthenic and athletic arts, to synthesize. Let me leave this video here, because the purpose is not an encyclopedic exhaustion. The purpose is to provoke the mind to think deeply and to hopefully energize us to have a practice of the body, to have a deeply embodied practice. And I stress again that this is essential for spiritual work. Do not neglect the body. The body is your trusty steed. The body is your flaming chariot, which will lead to the spiritual. Without it, your wings are clipped. Without it, you are forlorn. Without it, you are stuck on earth, not heaven. If you ignore the body, you have not gotten up to heaven. You have become stuck on a base earth of ignoble forms, deluding yourself to think that you have attained to something spiritual. Not without the body, not without a healthy and harmonious integration of the body to the spirit, and the spirit into the body.